Hey everyone, TG Watkins here with simplertrading.com, and this is your Daily 5 from StockCharts TV. All right, so some of the first charts I want to get into, Nvidia, I think this stock really exhibits some of the characteristics that I've been seeing out there in the market, especially the S&P itself. I do think that over here on the hourly chart on the right, I think that we are in a similar configuration and process here with the S&P. Now, as far as Nvidia and what it was doing, we could see it was getting rejected by these overhead moving averages. And then what we can see is here, the Moxie indicator was below zero the entire time. So even though price was appearing to be positive and was over the hourly 50 SMA, the Moxie indicator was telling us the entire time that energy and momentum was still negative. This is what I call an inverse trampoline move. And this is one of the setups that I use to help me figure out that, you know what, this is either a false long or don't go in yet, or depending on market conditions, maybe it's actually a pretty good short. So as I said, I do think that the S&P might be setting up like this. We're going to need a few more days to go by just because the configuration is not quite mature yet. But I have a feeling something like this is going to be happening. And then as we can see, we get a continuation to the downside as price bounces up into a downtrending moving average with the Moxie indicator still very much below zero. And then also, again, as timing, we can see here on the daily chart that we had the Moxie price triggers, which basically indicates the indicator going from positive to negative. That was firing right as price was starting to fall through and cross below the daily 50 SMA. So we're seeing a lot of things line up telling us that the market is not looking so great out there. Another one to be looking at, the IWM, this is as far as the indexes go. Again, you can see here on the daily chart, we have the Moxie price trigger telling us the indicator went from positive to negative as far as energy goes. And we also had it on the hourly chart here too, leading up to things. So this is how I use multiple time frames to give me a little bit of a heads up as to what's going on here. Now, all of this started from the false breakout, the failed breakout up here. But then once that happened, the other confirmation of a down move was right here as price ran right smack into the underside of the 50 SMA on this time frame. And you can see here that the Moxie indicator was still below zero. So we're seeing some pretty big situations in here as price running into those moving averages. And then here on the weekly chart, you can see price falling below the weekly 50 SMA. And for now, we're kind of seeing price bounce and flag a little bit. I think it's because it ran into this lower third ATR, but I have a feeling that this is going to be temporary. I don't think that there's any real actual support in through this area. I think price just got a little bit oversold, and I would not be surprised to see it continue lower whenever it wants to. At some point in time, I think we're going to see price continue to move lower. Now we come over here to Carvana, another one I wanted to be showing you. We've got the weekly chart on the left. Once again, there's the Moxie price trigger happening just before price really rolls over. You can see that's when the Moxie indicator went from positive to negative as it crossed below the zero line. And then you can even see here on the daily chart leading well before that, the Moxie indicator was also doing the same thing. You see how this is how I use the Moxie indicator and how its timing works really, really well. Do you see how in both situations the Moxie price trigger fired as the 8 was below the 21 and as price was falling or failing below the 50 SMA? It's basically the same setup on each time frame. And this is the kind of stuff that I really love and that I find fascinating about the market and really how well the Moxie indicator works and communicates with me. So once we had that initial fall, you can see that kind of like the IWM, price got a little bit oversold, and all it did was do a flag into the underside of a downtrending daily 50 in this case. And you can see here the Moxie indicator was very, very much below zero. So according to this time frame and what we're seeing here, there was absolutely no hope that price was going to continue to move up. And really, it was just a matter of time until price ran into this resistance and continued down. So that's kind of what I'm seeing with the IWM. I'm seeing it with a lot of different stocks out there. So do be careful if you're long. Otherwise, be looking for the short side and see if you can be taking advantage of that. Now, here we have the semis. We have the weekly on the left and the daily on the right. And I've talked about Boot on this program before and also some other StockChart TV videos, but Boot looked like a blow off top. Basically, it was, this is SMH, but Boot looked very similar. It was like, just trucking along. And then all of a sudden, had this big blow off and then it rolled over. That's a blow off top. And I'm been kind of talking about SMH and the semis and posing the question, did we just get the same thing on the semis? Is this a blow off top? Is it a failed breakout just like the IWM? Are we starting to see these type of moves that are at basically the end of some bull run? So I do kind of pose that question up here as price jumped up, hit those third ATRs, got extended, and now rolled back over very, very quickly, very easily. And now we're here pretty much at a decision point at the weekly 50. We're also at previous support. But if we look here on the daily chart, there's the Moxie price trigger firing to the downside. And price is basically probably just hanging out until I'm concerned it might go lower. Look how red the Moxie indicator is. That is massive. That's really, really a big deal. And you can even see on the weekly price up, Moxie indicator down. We've had a lot of negative divergence here. And so I'm really, really cautious about the semiconductor space, especially also with what's going on about interest rates rising and all that. Another example, here's Edit. And on the daily chart, we can see the Moxie indicator was a little bit later on this one, but you can still, there's plenty of meat on the bone for this one. It got oversold. You know, you could just see how price went straight down. And basically, other than the Moxie indicator, you could see that the setup was the same thing. You have the 8 below the 21, and then you had price failing the daily 50, and it just went straight down. Now, yes, it got oversold, but it didn't really bounce. It wasn't an oversold short covering rally, anything like that. And honestly, there was nothing to even buy. Even if you had bought here, you really didn't go anywhere. So this is the kind of the thing that I want to bring to people's attention, that just because things are cheap or low or oversold does not mean that they are necessarily a good buying opportunity for a bounce up. You need to be aware and have in the back of your mind that, you know, there's a different path that these things can take. And all they have to do is chill out, go sideways until they break lower, and then chill out and go sideways until they break lower. And this is what we see on a lot of stocks out there where nobody's willing to buy them. They are basically just bear flags, bear flag, bear flag until they stair step lower. So really, really pay attention out there. Make sure that you're not trying to buy something out there that just that shouldn't be bought simply because it's cheap or oversold. All right, so thanks again. That is your daily 5. And then as far as some new information, I have a webinar that we just put out on Monday. I have another one coming up on this Wednesday, the 9th. So you can see the link up here, simplertrading.com/money. We're going to be talking about the current market update and what's going on out there. So it's a little bit over an hour presentation. I've got a lot of charts, a lot of other things to talk about what's going on in the economy and macro vision. So I think we got a lot of good responses by it. So if you guys haven't seen it or want to check it out, make sure you tune in for this. Otherwise, you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all those good places. And then if you're interested in learning more about what I do and my alert service, you can come over and check it out at StockCharts at TG. And then that's where you get the live trading, the interactive Q&A, real-time alerts, all that kind of stuff. Trade spreadsheet. I put every trade that I take out there, and then you guys can see where we are. So thanks for tuning in, and until next time, enjoy.
Hey guys, Dave Keller here with StockCharts.com. Thanks so much for watching our video. If you enjoyed it, and we hope you did, hit the like button right below. Also, we have so much new content every day. Consider subscribing to the channel. Just hit the subscribe button in the video or right below. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Have a fantastic day.